many years ago to pursue acting, and I've only made a couple of movies in the entire time that I was there. So to be able to give my kids a better life and follow and pursue their dreams, whether it be my daughter as an equestrian, my son as a basketball player, my youngest son as a golfer.
When we said we wanted to bring him to the table, I was like, well, what do you want to talk about? He said, mushrooms.
And I feel like psychedelics are a way to tear down that wall and see what's beyond it. Doing it guided with people that are professionals, I feel like really increases the chances of having that mystical experience.
It's a balance. I don't want to jam it down anybody's throat, but I do not deny my faith. That's an even bigger sin.
Mark Wahlberg didn't go out with a bang. He vanished, and behind that quiet exit, a storm. Insiders claim he saw too much. Shady deals, unchecked power, and Jada Pinkett's name kept popping up right in the thick of it. One disturbing quote still makes the rounds. "My husband just wants to touch you for a little while on camera. I promise you, you won't feel a thing. Sniff this." That's not just strange, it's chilling. This wasn't about one actress or some weird marriage drama. This was about why one of Hollywood's top stars dipped without a sound. No drama, no press tour.
Hey, young man, come on over. My husband just wants to touch you for a little while on camera. I promise you, you won't feel a thing. Sniff this.
Wahlberg packed his family and ghosted LA straight to Nevada. On the surface, better taxes and more space. But to folks in the know, it looked like a clean break, like he was escaping something. Yeah, he talked about LA's rising crime and politics, but that wasn't the full story.
Moved to California many years ago to pursue acting, and I've only made a couple of movies in the entire time that I was there.
What really got under his skin? The behind-the-scenes culture. The way influence and power played out in dark corners of the industry. He didn't name names, but he didn't have to. The message was loud and clear. He didn't want to be part of that anymore. And instead of ranting or exposing it all, he flipped the script. Wahlberg's not just making movies, he's building something new.
To be able to give my kids a better life and follow and pursue their dreams, whether it be my daughter as an equestrian, my son as a basketball player, my youngest son as a golfer, this made a lot more sense for us.
Training centers for filmmakers, an $8 million facility for UNLV students, and a film bill offering tax breaks through 2043. It's not just business, it's a mission. Wahlberg's Hollywood 2.0 is shaping up to be his biggest statement yet. Cleaner, realer, and far from the gatekeepers he left behind.
And the lights of Hollywood could soon be coming and shining in Las Vegas as the Nevada legislature debates its largest tax break package ever to bring productions to town.
Wahlberg isn't just starting over, he's flipping the whole script. His new vision? A bold, drama-free Hollywood built on real creativity and fairness. No shady deals, no fake smiles, no gatekeeping. With Hollywood 2.0 in motion, folks inside the biz are getting nervous. He's not just talking change, he's building it. And that's shaking up an industry used to sweeping messes under the rug. So naturally, the big questions started flying. Why now? Why bounce when he still had offers on the table? Insiders say Wahlberg had seen enough. The fake friendships, the silent power plays, the way secrets got protected while truth got buried, it wore him down. And while he never named names, there was one that kept circling back, Jada Pinkett Smith. Wahlberg didn't blast her in public, but word in the industry, she became the symbol of everything he wanted out of. Loud personal drama, quiet influence, and a behind-the-scenes game most people never see. His move to Nevada, not just for the family or the taxes, it was an escape plan, a way to walk away without setting fires. But make no mistake, it was a message. Something or someone had crossed the line. And at the center of it all, the Smiths, especially Jada. They never played by the old rules. And that's exactly what made people wonder what rules they were playing by. What once looked like bold honesty from Will and Jada now feels, to some, like a slick cover-up. A setup that gave them way more control behind the scenes than folks ever realized. Rumors about their marriage have circled for years. Open, fake, hiding something. Jada tried to shut it down in 2009, saying, "I've heard all the things. He's gay. She's gay. They swing. It's too hard to be in a pretend marriage." But her tone? Way too casual. It didn't kill the whispers. It fueled them. Then, in 2013, she hit Facebook with another cryptic post. "Will and I both can do whatever we want." That doesn't mean we have an open relationship. It means we have a grown one. So, not denying it, just flipping the narrative. By 2021, Will finally said it out loud in GQ, non-monogamous. He called it personal growth, claiming marriage for us can't be a prison. And Jada, she never believed in traditional marriage from the start. But that line between grown and strategic was getting real blurry, and people were starting to catch on. She grew up different than me. That one line from Will had folks doing a double take. It sounded like he got pulled into Jada's world, not walked in willingly. Was this freedom or control dressed up as growth? People started asking, was Jada quietly running the show? Fame, power, and carefully planned openness. The whole setup felt calculated. In 2017, she laughed off rumors saying, "Will and I are swingers," but she didn't deny it, just laughed like it was a joke. Then came 2020's bombshell, the August Alsina entanglement. Jada didn't dodge it. She brought it straight to Red Table Talk and admitted everything. August was a young, emotionally fragile artist introduced to her by her own son, Jaden. He later claimed Will gave him the green light. Jada denied that, but admitted she understood how he could see it that way. So now the picture was this: Jada, a powerful public figure, getting involved with a vulnerable younger man inside her own kid's circle and calling it healing. To many, that wasn't growth. It was manipulation wrapped in therapy speak. And for insiders like Wahlberg, it raised serious red flags. Will sat beside Jada on Red Table Talk, drained and distant, admitting they were separated when the entanglement went down. He even said he was done with her. That moment hit different. This wasn't just a wild marriage. It looked like a calculated setup where Jada called the shots and dodged the fallout. Industry whispers started getting louder. That kind of dynamic, it didn't just affect their love life. It gave Jada serious pull in Hollywood too. And that's what reportedly made Wahlberg uneasy. It wasn't about how they loved. It was about how that love story blurred lines, pulled others in, and excused stuff that shouldn't be ignored. The Smiths weren't just different, they were building a whole new rule book. And Jada, right at the center. Everything about their image, the mixed signals, the cryptic quotes, the quiet admissions, seemed like a strategy, a way to stay powerful, stay protected, and keep control. Wahlberg saw through it. What looked like freedom was actually structure, one that quietly influenced the game behind the scenes. That's why he backed out. Not because he couldn't play along, but because he refused to. And it didn't stop at them. The bigger shock? What their kids were exposed to, sometimes with cameras rolling. Like in 2014, when a photo of 13-year-old Willow lying on a bed with 20-year-old actor Moises Arias leaked online, and the internet exploded. In that viral photo, 13-year-old Willow laid on a bed next to 20-year-old Moises Arias. He was shirtless. She wasn't, but the internet blew up. No movie, no context. Just a deeply uncomfortable image that had parents furious. But Jada's response? Instead of addressing the outrage, she brushed it off as art and slammed the public for being negative. The backlash only grew. Soon after, reports surfaced that Child Protective Services had stepped in to investigate the Smiths for failing to protect their daughter. That moment didn't fade. It stuck, and it sparked a bigger question. What kind of world were the Smith kids growing up in? Fast forward to 2023, Jaden's on stage at a psychedelic science conference in Denver, casually saying his mom was the first in their family to use psychedelics. It was just her for a really, really long time, he said. Then the rest of the family followed. He wasn't joking. He described it like vitamins passed down from parent to child, framed as healing, as growth. He even claimed it fixed family tension. But to most listeners, it didn't sound like therapy. It sounded like grooming. The concern wasn't just about Jada experimenting. It was that she brought her kids into it way too early, believing it was somehow harmless. And for many watching, that was way past the line. To Wahlberg, this wasn't a fluke. It was a pattern. A house where lines kept getting blurred, where grown-up chaos was labeled healing, and where kids weren't shielded from adult mess. They were pulled into it. As a father, this hit close. Wahlberg wasn't just watching the madness from afar, he was clocking how some of Hollywood's biggest names raised their kids, not with boundaries, but with exposure. Not structure, but chaos. This wasn't about criticizing different parenting styles. It was about watching folks cross lines over and over and call it freedom. Will and Jada defended it all as progressive, but for many in the industry, it looked more like neglect with a rebrand. And for Wahlberg, that was the final red flag. Not just the culture, but the influence certain families had over it. He wasn't trying to get dragged into that web, but it didn't stop there. Behind the scenes, there were whispers about Hollywood's secret underworld, one with alleged dark agendas. And somehow, Will Smith's name kept coming up. Comedian Bert Kreischer shared one story that turned heads. Back when he was a newcomer, he met Will in a studio working on Millennium.
And he was like, "Oh, buddy, he's trying to." I go, "What?" And he goes, "Listen, this is very popular in Hollywood. These guys have had so much pussy, they get tired of it, and so they're trying to turn out young boys. That's the only thing that really..."
Will invited him out that night, said they'd catch a movie. Harmless, right? At least, that's what Kreischer thought.
Like, I could have Kumo D? Like, I'm literally like, oh my God.
Things took a strange turn when Kreischer called his dad to share the invite from Will. His dad hit him with a warning, claiming some Hollywood vets get bored with fame and chase riskier thrills. Kreischer didn't fully buy it, but just in case, he threw on the goofiest outfit he had, overalls and a sweater, to kill the vibe. He showed up to Planet Hollywood expecting a chill hang, but someone told him to head downstairs, and that's when his nerves kicked in. Kreischer thought he was about to walk into something way beyond what he signed up for. Instead, he found himself in a private screening room with 10 black men, Jazzy Jeff included. No sketchy stuff went down. They just watched a movie. But then, Will turned and asked him what he thought of the group. That's when Kreischer realized he was in a room full of hip-hop legends, Cool Mo D, Biz Markie. It was a wild setup, but not the kind he expected. Still, the story exploded in Hollywood gossip circles. Folks started questioning whether Will had a habit of pulling young talent into weird initiations. And one name that kept coming up alongside Will's? Sean Diddy Combs. Known for his flashy, elite, invite-only parties, ones rumored to hide more than music and champagne. Whispers of secrets, indulgence, and even minors keep surrounding those guest lists, and the people who attend them. And guess who's allegedly been spotted at these private, invite-only parties more than once? Will Smith. Word is, these events follow a strict code. What happens there stays there. Break that silence, there's a price. But lately, more people are talking, and the whispers about secret guest lists and shady behavior are getting harder to bury. Then there's Will's tight-knit circle. Relationships that some say go deeper than just friendship. Actress Lisa Ray once made headlines when she claimed that Will's longtime friend, actor Dwayne Martin, played a part in wrecking her marriage. "I lost my husband to Dwayne," she said. "They became better friends than me and my own husband. I couldn't understand it."
Within that relationship, I lost my husband to Dwayne Martin, and they became...
She also revealed that Dwayne was introducing her man to other women Lisa Ray knew.
The problem was I married a playboy.
It was disrespect on another level, but many thought she was holding back, that there was more she wasn't saying out loud. See, this isn't the first time Dwayne's been linked to controversy involving married men. Rumors have followed him for years, and one theory, that it all started with Will. Will and Dwayne first crossed paths in 1993 on the Fresh Prince set and quickly formed a tight bond, one that's lasted over 30 years. From red carpets to personal vacations, they've been spotted everywhere together. And as time went on, fans couldn't help but wonder, was there more to this bromance than met the eye? Fans have long speculated there was something deeper between Will Smith and Dwayne Martin. Their bond? A little too close for comfort, according to some. And Will's history hasn't exactly quieted the talk, especially after he played a gay con artist in 6 Degrees of Separation back in 1993, the same year he met Dwayne. That role lit up the rumor mill. Fans took sides, and questions about Will's private life started gaining serious traction. Both he and Dwayne denied the gossip, loudly. And since both were married at the time, it helped cool things down. Will had tied the knot with Cherie Zampino in 1992, but they split by 95. He married Jada 2 years later. Dwayne? He married actress Tisha Campbell in 96. But that didn't stop the rumors, especially in 2013 when things flared up again. This time, it wasn't Will making waves, it was Jada. In an interview, she was asked straight up whether Will might be into men. Her answer? A little too careful. She said she encouraged Will to be himself, and that if he could look in the mirror and feel good about who he was, that was all that mattered. Supportive? Maybe. But to many, that answer felt less like clarity and more like quiet confirmation. Mark Wahlberg didn't just pack up and leave Hollywood on a whim. His exit was slow, calculated, and deeply personal. For years, he played the game. Blockbusters, big-name directors, building a brand on grit and faith. But somewhere along the way, that game stopped feeling right. It wasn't the fame or the grind. It was what success started to require. Behind the glam, it was all politics, clicks, and backdoor deals. The same faces, the same favors, the same unwritten rules about who you had to impress and who you couldn't challenge. But what pushed Wahlberg over the edge wasn't just business, it was the behavior. The way young talent was handled, the way people were treated behind closed doors, and how figures like Jada Pinkett Smith, powerful, charming, untouchable, seemed to be at the center of it all. Wahlberg began asking hard questions. Why were so many young stars crashing and burning? Why were certain families turning private dysfunction into public branding? And why was no one being held accountable? What he found: a system that didn't want truth. It wanted silence. And the Smiths, while not alone, were the most visible. From their personal chaos turned content, to cryptic talk of entanglements, to their kids caught in the middle, it all felt off. To Wahlberg, this wasn't freedom. It was a danger, not just to careers, but to kids. And that's when he knew he had to get out. It wasn't just fame being pushed on these kids. They were being exposed to adult substances, adult relationships, and chaotic ideas, all wrapped in the label of free thinking. To Wahlberg, that wasn't parenting, it was branding. And the worst part? Hollywood celebrated it. Insiders say the final straw came when Wahlberg saw how the machine protected itself. Power players covering for each other. Scandals brushed off. Apologies turned into PR moves. Accountability, just another scripted act. He was done. Done chasing deals. Done playing by rules that kept changing to protect the wrong people. As a father, as a man of faith, as someone trying to live with real values, Wahlberg walked away. He took his family to Nevada, built not just a studio, but a clean slate, a space outside the system, far from the noise. Because Hollywood wasn't just broken, it was contagious. And if he didn't leave, he'd end up part of the problem. If you felt that, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because the next expose, it's gonna be even wilder. See you on the next one.